imo ki kwetsa ka haisalo
Okay.
a ropeleng ya go yo nna fatshe gore re se hula ro a tla re tshware ka lefoko re batla e bollonyana ele wa bona so that a bue a fete wena ga o bua o bo emisa minister ebile le inaugurate older person so bona
Yeah, I think it's fine.
o nagana gore ke idea e betere
I think so.
because ha bua a fete ha fetsa go bua go tla wena ebile tla bo so announce le older persons forum ba tla mo pele yes dear
This thing has been sorted. It has been sorted. I don't know why people did not go give people food. I sorted the Northwest.
It's okay. Yeah.
And then something, you see they're coming in with packs. Why didn't they bring people's food in there? tlhakatlhakantsha program ya
Right. So, is siame ke re se ulang. Tla ke dire jalo. E re a bue 5 minutes ga ga ete. Then wena, gore ke ska then wena, ha o bua, ebile o emisa forum, ebile o emisa minister. And then after lona le le babedi ke vote of thanks. Okay. Bantu abadala naku ke angazi ukuthi ubani bekahleli nokudla kwenu kuphi. Kodwa ngizocela njengoba sekungena kune isicelo esikanje engisimukelayo njengomphathi wehlelo hawo. MEC bacela ke ukuthi ayibezwe wena kuqala bese kuza Resifularo utlaba emisa minister ba inaugurate forum minister abuwe so kuzoba uMEC Mlaiza wakhe bese kuba untate Sifularo oyo bese ke introduce ne forum uminister inaugurate forum bese usinika umlayezo bese siyavala niyayibona ngithi. All right. MEC, you have the floor. You are fine. Eh? Oh, he's the one that was proposing. No. Oh, Resifularo. MEC ariena hana message. So serale ke sa ga gorra. How fetsa we introduce? I hope all the forum members are in the house. Sikhona sonke iforum entsha. Asenzeni kanje sibambane la. Civil ne crew yakho Isabella assist us to make sure the forum members are in the house. Resifularo.
Kisiami. Can I start? Thank you very much. Program Director, DM, Me Ipileng Bukupani Zulu, our Honorable Minister, Me Lindiwe Zulu, the MECs who are here today. It's a pity that the MEC from the Northwest couldn't be here with us today. Hopefully the message has reached through the political communication because the MEC in Northwest was involved in an accident and had to be hospitalized. But that as it may, he made it a point that the Northwest team is here. I'm not speaking on behalf of the Northwest. I've put on another hat. I also want to speak on behalf of the Eastern Cape because I'm missing my colleagues from the Eastern Cape. However, I did also have a small talk with the MEC here, and hopefully in the future we might have the Eastern Cape as part of us because there's a lot of elderly people there. We might also have the Western Cape with us. So thank you very much. And I will also want to recognize the Acting Deputy Director General, May Isabella Sikawani, her entourage, all the officials who are here. If I don't make any sense, it's not going to be my fault because my program kept on changing. I was not sure whether I'm going to give a vote of thanks, I'm going to make an address, I'm just going to introduce the incoming board and hand it over to the minister, I was never sure. However, you know, at my age, you learn to yes, you understand the DM. That as it may, Program Director, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, on behalf of the elderly people of South Africa, both present and those who are not with us here, we really want to appreciate this opportunity that you have presented to us, this auspicious, very, very beautiful event that we have here that is going to be repeated on an annual basis. Hopefully, we know that we are almost in the 10th year of this event. I'm almost new, recently elected as a chairperson, but I appreciate everything that was said here. And even in my speech, I don't even want to spoil some of the good points that were submitted here. I hope that the recorders, those people who are taking, who are making a report of the submissions, especially from the dialogue people, they have been properly captured, because some of them almost made me to cry, you know, because these are some of the experiences that our elderly people experience on a daily basis. Now, I just wanted to say that we should always remember what the wise words of Madiba, Tata Madiba, when he said that a society that does not value older people denies its roots and endangers the future. This has already been said. It's an expression that has already been said. But Madiba also said that older persons are an integral part of our communities who are often the carers of children, disabled persons, and those that are ill. They are the people who have wisdom, knowledge, talents, and skills that we must use in our country's development towards the realization of our dream of an African Renaissance. I think this is a point that Gauteng also made in terms of the integrated development approach, a holistic approach that also embraces older persons. We also realize that these events coincide with the Human Rights Day, which is a day on which we, as the older persons, should reflect on the rights accorded to us by the government and the society, whilst we also reflect in terms of what happened in our history, something that has been mentioned here earlier on. We know what happened in Everton, if I'm correct, where our people were massacred by the previous regime. But to us today, we know that the human rights also include us. And we are also happy, Minister, that your act, the Older Persons Act 13 of 2006, which is currently being amended, where it has been consulted throughout the province, has emphasized the rights of the older persons, because we are also people, although vulnerable, we are also people that needs to be looked after and be integrated as part of the society. And as it was said here during the presentation, that we have a lot of value that we can add if you look well after us. And Minister, when you look, into this hall here, and also I'm talking also to the political leadership, we say that the forums, the older persons forums are apolitical, but I don't want to say that they also have that, what you can call, they are very, very honest, and will always remember the hand that look after them. If you look well after these people, somebody said, I think it was a DM, or no, it was one of the officials during the briefings, that there's about 1,700 elderly people who are here. That translates into 1,700 votes. And I'm not saying that vote for any party. I'm just saying vote. And there are also many people who are out there, who are elderly people, who will also be voting. Elderly people. the youngsters are unreliable. But here, we have people who are very, very reliable, who will definitely always support government. So, Minister, this is a very important cohort of elderly people that we have here. We appreciate the support given to older persons by the government through your department, Minister, by making efforts and availing programs through which elderly people can improve and sustain their lives and livelihoods. This includes, amongst others, but not limited to, the social grants, if we have discussed food parcels and funded projects to social clubs by older persons. We are aware of the huge responsibility being shouldered by your Department of Social Development and other social development at provincial levels, because as you normally see as well that you have to deal with babies, you have to deal with people who are vulnerable, those who are disabled. You also have to deal with the elderly people like us. This is a very, very, very important responsibility that you share. We are, however, aware that the Older Persons Act of 2006 says under Section 3, which was mentioned here, by the way, that subject to this act allocating roles and responsibilities, the act must be implemented by all organs of state. It cannot just be social development alone. This has been said here. That's why I'm saying that I'm not going to repeat some of the issues that have been said. The act talks about intergovernmental responsibilities. It talks about organization of states that also have a responsibility in terms of discharging their roles to older persons. And unless this thing is actually implemented, we'll always have crises. Right now, most of the time, especially when we have to deal with golden games, then we have crises. We know that normally the golden games are held around about towards the end of the year. But this time, we had to wait until March. But we are happy, Program Director. We are happy because we are here. That has been fulfilled, and we say thank you to the Minister as well. We say that the Act must be implemented by all organs of state rendering services to older persons at national, provincial, and where applicable, local sphere of government in an integrated, coordinated, and uniform manner. We know that at least the provinces are trying. They are trying very much to put in a helping hand in terms of advancing the issues of older persons. But where the problem most of the time lies is at local government. Because at this, what I normally say, Minister, is that somehow, in terms of implementing the South African older persons policy, which was adopted in 2005, something went awry there. Something went awry there in the sense that most of the time when you talk about older persons, and then when we have to bring them to events like this, we go to social clubs. Whereas there are many older persons who do not belong to social clubs. Social clubs exist for own reasons. They have their own objectives. So we need to go back, especially I'm talking to the forums as well, and see to it that we generate membership of forums at local level. In other words, you'll have at ward level, you'll have it at local level, you'll have it at district level, you'll have it at national level, and then there will be the South African Older Persons Forum. This is very, very important. Let's not just look at the social clubs, the ones that depend because, or that exist because they have been sponsored, they have been funded. We still have a role to see that everybody who's an elderly person, the Act actually compels you as an older person to know what is happening next door if there's an older person. Because you may not be knowing that your neighbor as an older person is suffering. There's no food next door. But you leave that person, you go to the social club because it's funded there. And you leave these people who are suffering here. So that issue will need to be corrected, colleagues. Honorable Minister, whilst we appreciate the yearly funding that the SOPF so far receives from the Department of Social Development as a non-profit organization, it will not be proper should we forget to refer to observed structural weaknesses in the establishment of this organization with regard to the expected role it should play within older persons' affairs. Our observations are that the desires expressed in the South African older persons policy of 2005, like I've already alluded to, by your predecessors, have not been taken into account in the promulgation of the Act of 13 of 2006, as it makes no reference to the SOPF or any role that it should or may play. Civil knows and her team that I'm always bothering to say that, look, we are working with a strategy right now to implement the act that we are working on. It's a good act. The strategy is also very good. It's very, very progressive. But there's a lacuna. What the lawyers will say, it's a lacuna. Somewhere, you don't have a role. Yes, there is a section that alludes or that refers to the South African Older Persons Forum. But if you read through that section, it's just hot air. Where it is very, very important, what we think should be said, and we are not ambushing the minister or the deputy minister in this regard, is to say that it will be a good thing if the forum is given a monitoring role. Because the programs are there. One of my colleagues earlier said, the devil is in implementation. The roles are there. They are articulately, very, how can I say, expressly mentioned. It's a whole, it's a thick book. But do those things happen? No. And, Minister and Deputy Minister, the thing that has sometimes make my heart very sore is when you go to an old age home where people don't get, where the officials have gone and dealt with compliance issues. What they do is just to tick boxes. And immediately you fail the test. Then the funding is withdrawn. What about those poor people, the beneficiaries who are there, who depend on that money? Why don't you assist that particular organization, at least to comply with whatever issues that you think need to be complied with? So those are some of the issues that are very, very important, because that is part of service delivery. I'm talking about what I know. The mandate of the SAOPF is only realized within the Articles of Association compiled to constitute this structure as a Section 21 company under the Companies Act of 1973, where it says that the objectives of the association shall be to promote the rights and dignity of all persons, consult and advise government, comment on legislation and policy, foster the growth of community organizations, disseminate information. It's a whole list of things. Nicely put. Whether this has been happening, I'm not too sure. But I just want to say, Minister, that I know that you have an open door to us and say we really want to meet with us. These are some of the things that we need to discuss. We don't want to read about bad things about older persons in the media. You see, where we read about rapes and all that type of thing, because advocacy and awareness and all those things are not happening. While the department has been busy with the amendment of the Older Persons Act, as I've said, which has been subjected to the national public hearings and soon to be promulgated as an act, the lacuna will continue to exist as well as we also proceed with the compilation of the departmental 5-year national strategy on aging for South Africa. We do appreciate and take note that this strategy has listed what should be the roles of, I've already alluded to that. Let me just go further and say that our recommendation in this regard is that there should be terms of reference for the SOPF, newly developed, because the articles of association that were compiled in 2012, and I think also amended around about 2017, but there's not much of an amendment, are not assisting to give direction to the SOPF. And if there's no direction at initial, you know, we always say if the head is sick, even the body is going to be sick. So we consider we should be placed before the Minister of Social Development and the Executive Council for approval, with the purpose being to give the effect to the SOPF as a reason for existence. We should include the role for monitoring and evaluation as spelled out under the South African Older Persons Policy. Because the Older Persons Policy does say that. In the one that was compiled by under Minister, the late Dr. Skoias, when he was still a minister then. Now, it would also be a good thing if matters of institutional arrangement can be looked into for purpose of a national asymmetrically approach to older persons issues. Observations made in this regard is that at this stage we have an unguided laissez-faire approach. What I'm trying to say by this means is that every province has its own type of forum, how it's constituted. And they do their thing there. National does its own thing there. And the Northwest is not doing anything. So we really need to do where things will be uniformed, so that when we talk about the implementation of the Act 206 as will have been amended, then everybody is talking about the same things. The issue of the ministers has already been discussed. I don't have to get in that. I think even at Parliament, because during the hearings, this is one of the topics that was very hot. Mapeling, I'm done, almost. With regard to the services being provided by our hardworking, by this I'm trying to say I don't have to read this. Sometimes, you know, my background is economic development. Now, there's a term that we said that talks about the economies of scale. In other words, once the weight is too much, that scale becomes useless. It's not able to give you the correct reading. So if a department is also overburdened, and I'm not just talking about the minister alone or the deputy minister, I'm also talking about our MECs. Maybe multi-skilling is also required in this regard. We don't know. But some of the things suffer because of the capacity constraints that exist within departments. And therefore, we want to plead with the leadership that is there, our ministers, our deputy ministers, the MECs, to say that look into matters of capacity so that there should be effectiveness and efficiency in terms of managing issues that relate to older persons. Really, I don't want to belabor some of the points because, like I said, a lot has been said. I was listening here. At some stage, I even had tears in my eyes because colleagues were just saying the truth about what is happening on the ground. Now, Minister, with your permission, can I stop here? But before I stop, I just have one little task to perform, which is to call forward our new members who have been elected recently, as recent as the 13th of December, 2023. I was given the position of a chair. Can my colleagues please start to walk this way so that we save time? They know themselves, those are, so that I can introduce you to the minister. Osimpo, Come here. Minister, this is the new board that awaits your formal inauguration. What I have on my left-hand side, immediate left-hand side here, came Mpho Joyce Mutlamme from the Free State as my deputy chairperson. And then I have Ntate George Khati, secretary from the Northern Cape. Now, why is there MEC? I almost call that we should disband the forum in the Northwest, in the Northern Cape. You know why? They've used that Maradona hands of God thing because they use their MEC to come and present. Anyway, that's fine. The next one is Mayor Malefshani Petra from Gauteng. Who's Malefshani? Now, that's the West. Our host is not here. The treasurer. Sorry. But at any rate, the treasurer is Mr. Sidney Sitole from Mpumalanga. Then I have Ms. Julene Newman from the Northern Cape. Thank you, Julene. Then Maureen Mami Zondi from KwaZulu-Natal. Where's that lady who was saying ho here? There's a lady who criticized me as ho when she wanted to say Khositsile. That is man Nomsa Joyce Mazibuko. Sis Joyce? We have Ntate Ramotale Jonas Ramotswela from the Free State. Now, you know, any organization in a dynamic style, it doesn't, there's a term that they normally use. Because for the first time when I arrived here, the leadership in Limpopo has changed. But for a good cause, Minister. It has changed for a good cause, democratically so. It was not just, somebody's deciding to change it. We now have Mayor Gloria Makubele from Limpopo as a member. Oh, you're waiting that I should call you. Yeah. And then Miss Aida Masihela from Limpopo. Yeah. Then we also have Mayor Mildred Nhlapo from Mpumalanga. Yeah? Has it changed as well? Okay. Okay. All right. I'll accept that mistake. The chairperson will. Also Mukhadi. Margaret Matebula. Bear with me, people. I mean, I'm Muchwana from the Northwest. Margaret Matebula, ma'am, you have to pardon me. But I'm going to kick Rudolph K. Rudolph K is, I don't want to say what I'm going to kick from you. All right. And then we have, but Margaret Matebula is here as a member. And then we have Mayor A. Nontobeko from Eastern Cape. She's here, not here, ne? And then Bukanai guy. She's always Matlati from the Northwest. Andy, where are you? I'm here. My man. Andy Taunyane from Gauteng. Minister, this is your SOPF board. Thank you very much. Maybe, okay. Merci. Thank you very much.
Could I balance? When it must balance.
Just balance.
You cannot have one.
Resi Hularo. Ow. Ha go tla nna wa tsamaya ra. Ke tlo go kopana go bokone bophirima. Yes. Awe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ndati.
Yeah.
Resi Hularo wa editse.
Ke feditse. Just the last word to say that even though the things that I've said about the SOPF, we are hard at work and we have the support of the department. And we have workshops. They always consult with us, invite us to the workshops to also have inputs. So thank you very much, dear. I really appreciate it.
Ke a leboga Resi Hularo. Sound utogo. Ra leboga modulasetulo Resi Hularo. Siyabonga bonke. Uyabo iwane nje into engicela kuyisho. Uyabona iforum le idinga some additions nyana. Yabo. Yeah. Manje sesiyobiza uminister ngithi. We are ready. So MEC is going to introduce the minister. Yeah? Bese siyashisa ngimtshelile. Kamala sewuyala.
Thank you, DM. Good afternoon to you. Afternoon to Minister, MEC for Northern Cape angemboni. Leadership yetu yonke ye forum yetu ko mama ko tata bethu abakhona la that we love and respect our officials ezinyawo nezandla to make this beautiful and successful program for our elderly. My name is Bukiwe Fanta, ndintombazana yangapha Eastern Cape angikabonwa. Angizange ndabonwa. Angihlambi ngafumana kumyeni. Apha eMpumalanga okanye eLimpopo. I greet you all in the most wonderful name of Jesus. The name that is above all names. Ndisindisiwe ke. I am the child of God. Kukho izinto endingazenziyo nendizenzayo. Kukho into endizithethayo nendingazithethiyo ngoba ndinemikhala, which is my Jesus. Athi noba sendifuna ukwenza le, athi bangayenza bonke but not you. Indincedile ke loo nto from my tender age. I don't regret the day I accepted Jesus as my personal savior. I am almost 70 years now. Angizange ndambona elishiya intombazana. I've retired even at my work. I started working in education in 1979. I retired in 2019. It was grace of God that I was elected to be a member of parliament. Otherwise, I'm on retirement. And I love this program because, Minister, that was a program I was doing when I was working with the Department of Education. I was working for special programs for about 25 years. Hence, I am worried when kuthethwa nge-structures that are not there. But our government has created all these structures. Special program is meant for coordinating older persons program, youth program, children program, people with disability programs, and gender. You wonder why there's still a cry of coordination. All government departments in my province, particular, and in my province, we've got also portfolio committee that is monitoring and doing oversight in all government departments. Ukuthi, all the persons, are they catered in your programs? Youth, women, children. That's how serious this government is. Even in my province, even municipalities have got councillor, what was in Donazand? Portfolio heads, the councillors, heading special programs unit. I'm talking about MMC. And I normally attack them to say, South Africa, wonke umuntu uzawuba ne-portfolio abed amkele, kodwa at the end of the day, there's nothing that she or he is doing. Wonke umuntu uzawufumana umsebenzi, but akho umuntu wenza umsebenzi, ngoba abantu bayamkela abasebenzi abasebenzeli ukwamkela. That's a problem. Our towns are filthy. God, we've got people who are being employed to clean our towns. People are just getting paid. I'm raising this because our older persons were supposed to be enjoying their lives, because the government has put in place budget and coordinators to do the job for them. But again, we're gonna continue with our minister and MECs. We must make sure that there is change. The challenge with us as South Africa, we've got all the beautiful laws and acts, but implementation is a challenge, and monitoring. And monitoring. In my province, a special program is starting at chief directorate. There's a chief director, there's a director, there's deputy directors, there's assistant directors. It's not lower positions. It's strategic positions. But what are they doing? I was just raising those few things that I'm not sure in other provinces, but I'm sure of my province. Because that's what I was doing until I retire. Until I retire in 2019, that's what we're doing, of making sure that elderly people have got clear programs. Youth, women, people with disabilities. But thank you, Minister, for your brave stance to make sure that this program take place. I know the difficulties that were there, but your bold stance of saying, not in the year of elections, we just cannot singabinayo older persons for golden games. That's what our minister, she pushed us. Unfortunately, and I was pushing also in the Eastern Cape. Unfortunately, Eastern Cape is not here. Hence, I'm declaring here, in April, we're gonna have a conference, older persons conference in the Eastern Cape. And up here corner, EIM Zamba, Gapa Alfredo, the beautiful Sun City. Because I told them when I took over in this department that, and namtum dala uzawamba ngebus from Eastern Cape to Gauteng. That's not possible. Mna, I'm young, I'm flying. Mna, I'm young, I'm flying. How come our old people, they have to drive ngebus from Eastern Cape? I said no. I think Satana one day, and there was a sabotage that my province is not here. But anyway, I'm ready to that. I'm gonna deal with it. I'm a politician by birth, not by hands. I'm gonna deal with that one. You put some very powerful points here. As gender activist for the rest of my life, as a gender activist for the rest of my life, there are some laws, Minister, that we must deal and change. The issue of special courts for older persons are very critical. As we raised the issue of special courts, even for gender-based related cases. Just as we have special courts in 2010, why we can't have special courts for our older people that are being raped and brutally murdered? After being murdered, kufuneka niyohlala court anikwe ibail umuntu. Anikwe ibail umuntu aphinde azorape abulala abanye. So I'm saying these requests of special courts, it must be a demand, Minister. We must demand it. I told Minister Lamla, but this is too much. I'm tired of Bandibese court in Doti, the petty placards with my green blouse. They said no bail. I am tired of that. What are we doing about it? I have a case of a 4-year-old child who was brutally raped. Yeah, the buttocks were teared apart. A 4-year-old. It's about 2 weeks ago, that case. I thought someone was chopped when I get this picture. I was sitting with the Premier in a funeral when this thing entered my phone. And I was saying, Premier, who can chop someone? Oh, Premier, when she look at my phone, but no, Mama, it's not, it's the buttocks of a child. He back, and the doctor, when I read the message, oh, to doctor, this is the back, Mama, the buttocks. You will collapse if I can show you the front. And now began court and say no bail for that rubbish. And I told people of Ortam, it was from Ortam, I said, my police don't want me to come to Ortam. This boy must be found with immediate effect. Because what is he doing? Did you know? No. That my police have find that particular man. And it was a young boy of about 30 years. Police figure later, unfortunately. I'm saying, we're tired as women of going to court with no bail placards. Our old women, a 90-year-old woman was mentally raped and brutally killed. A lady friend. We were tired. And we are born alone for no rape. And sit that are making laws. Why can't we change these laws? So I'm supporting you. These courts are needed. These special courts, so that in case it break your finish and clear. Special courts for older people. Special courts for or GBV related cases. For no bail. There must be no bail. Thank you very much for your inputs that are very creative. I am here to the Pagamisa Minister. I met at a very tender age when they were coming from exile. Umkhonto wesizwe ke lo. Lowa manyane ke umkhonto wesizwe. The real umkhonto wesizwe of ANC. Aswazi omnye lo unabantu abana 20 years. Bathi bakumkhonto wesizwe. After sibhenishile yonke into ekuthiwa ngumkhonto wesizwe. Kodwa that young woman was that umkhonto wesizwe. Walishiye lelizwe uyokulwela ilizwe ukuba namhlanje silapha sinalamalungelo that was celebrating. Umama wethu ulindiwe ndiphakamisa yena is my sister, is my minister. Thank you very much.
Hayi siyosukumani sonke sibukele uminister. Siyabonga MEC. Katiba ki eya somebody. Isele toilet nasi sigogo. Uzosithola lakini. Thank you.
a leboga bomme le bontate ke a leboga. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Igama lami nguLindiwe kwaZulu isibongo. Because silana kunabantu abaningi who speak Zulu, who speak Sotho, who speak Pedi, who speak Tswana, who speak kodwa ake ningitshene we officials abelungu nizobaletha nini la? Wayibona abahlala bebaleka benza into zabo emasayidini abaphathi of South Africa yini kanti bona? Ke baletheni nabo. Abafuni impela. Cha ikhona ke lento yenza ukuthi bangafuni. There is a South Africa which we all fought for, which is called the South Africa, which is non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist. Yonke leyo nto leyo ikhona, but since ngafika la ngiyawabona lama Golden Games, kodwa le yase PE babe khonyana. Yeah, babe khonyane PE. So I'm raising this also because namhlanje it's Human Rights Day. I'm also raising it on the basis that it is 3 decades or 3 decades. I don't know what they say it in English. Sometimes ngokuthi decades, but it's not decades. Today we all remember why the government of the African National Congress decided, together with the people of South Africa, that this day is going to be Human Rights Day. Today we remember the history of this day. And for me, having been one of those young people who decided to stand up and say no more, I want us to never lose sight of the fact that this freedom that we celebrate today, some people sacrificed for this day. Many of them sacrificed with their lives. Many of them sacrificed with many years in prison. Many of them sacrificed many years being chased by the apartheid regime, whether they were nearby in Botswana, Lesotho, or Eswatini. And on this particular day, we should always remember that these people who were killed in 1960, the 69 who were killed, they were killed simply because they stood up to fight for something that they knew was disregarding their rights, something that they knew was forgetting that they are also human beings, something that they knew they deserved a better life in their own soil. Nabo ngabe kumnandi namhlanje if babe ngabulawanga ngalesihlungu ababulawa ngaso ngalelo langa, because many of them might have passed away due to age or something, but some of them might have still been here. Some of them might have been participating, because if my other grandmother is 98 years old, some of them were probably much younger than what she was at the time. So, Program Director, Deputy Minister, Henrietta Bokhopane Zulu. Manje mina ngizokubiza uHenrietta ngoba phela mina ngiyanga nawe esikolweni ngoba ngimdala kunawe. So I think you will accept that. Members of the Executive Council, Usis Fanta, no younger sister, ngoba lo munye usister uVilakazi is younger than me, so ngizothi younger sister. Ngiyabonga ukuthi you took your time to be here. Ngibonge kakhulu futhi what MEC Fanta said to us here, because we must not lose sight of those challenges that are faced by our communities. We must not lose sight of the fact that we have a role to play. Uyazi ukuthi emphakathini, the older you are, in many instances, the more people respect you. And the older you are, and the reason why abantu abaningi would respect you, because it is known ukuthi older people have got the experience. Older people have got so much contribution to make in the building of the new and in the growing of the new. But unfortunately, in some of our communities, I don't want to generalize, because I know that asekhona ama community where community people really take responsibility in their areas. Basekhona abantu abathi mabebona ukuthi akulunganga next door, and they take it upon themselves to do something. Basekhona futhi abantu abathi mabezwa ukuthi kunesikhalo ngapha, bangavali indlebe namehlo, but it's got nothing to do with us. Unfortunately for us, indlela iSouth Africa egalopha ngakhona ekukhuleni kwayo, there are the many positives, but there are also some negatives where communities, abantu bahlala nje next door, but bangafuni ukwazi ukuthi what's happening next door. And in some instances, mabengafuni ukwazi ukuthi what's happening in next door, bezwa sekuthiwa hayi sekufuneka semncwabeni. Bagqoke baswenke babe bahle baye emncwabeni. Bayongcwaba bani? Bayongcwaba a woman who has been killed by either the boyfriend or the husband. Bayongcwaba bani? Bayongcwaba a child who has been brutally raped by sometimes people they see in their communities, and they know ukuthi ay khona abantu abangalunganga la, kodwa they don't act immediately on it. But nakhona you never want to blame abantu kakhulu, ngoba these days bayangenelwa abantu babulawe umuntu angazi ukuthi ufelani. So ngiyabonga futhi ukuthi no Ntate Sifulaho spoke to us here, because I was worried actually when I saw the program kuthiwa ingathi uzoba closing remarks tomorrow, and I was like, no, we cannot have that, because as a chairperson of the South African Older Persons Forum, actually this should be your forum. You should be the one who speak even much more than I am supposed to speak. Why do I say that? I say that because I believe the forum should be the engine for the elderly people in all the provinces. I say that because I believe, also being in the Department of Social Development, but being a minister, having been an official at one point of my life, and having been advisor to president and ministers in the past, I can tell you without fail that if we don't strengthen provincial and local structures, we are a waste at the top. If we don't engage particularly with the forum consistently and continuously, and not engage because we are going to the Golden Games, and not engage because it is this day that is very important for us to do. For me, it doesn't make sense that we will only make these policies, abo civil, nabo Isabella. I can tell you they don't sleep researching, putting documents together. That on its own, without the implementation and the impact thereof on the ground, we are a waste at the top. In order for us not to be a waste at the top, we must, one, consistently engage. Two, when we know what the problems are, find the solutions to those problems. But the third one for me when I listened to everything that was said here, ngizwile ukuthi kukhuluma abantu abayaziyo lento abakhuluma ngayo. Ngizwile ukuthi kukhuluma abantu abanama solution bahleli nawo la bahleli khona. All they need is for us to create a conducive environment for them. And if we want this better South Africa, let us agree it is 30 years of democracy, 30 years of hits and misses, 30 years of the good, the bad, the ugly, the good. Let us accept that. That 30 years of trying to form a government, out of how many governments were there before? 11 or 12 or something like that. When you amalgamate all that, and you are amalgamating it from an almost zero system, because phela apartheid yayenza lama system, it was at zero if you look at what should have happened. Now, when you have to put all that together, you are bound to have conflicts here and there. Abanye beze ngokuthi hayi thina samaZulu, hayi thina sabeSuthu, hayi thina samaXhosa, hayi thina ayiphele le nto leyo. Because if you are a government that actually should not be looking at people from that angle. Yokuthi umuntu uyini ubuyaphi. Once you are at head office in particular, your responsibility is to be fair across the board. That's what we are supposed to do. And if we are supposed to make sure that what we are talking about here happens, it is about strengthening the weaknesses in the structures. And I think the chairperson of the South African Older Persons clearly indicated which direction we are supposed to go. But before he even came here, each and every province that spoke here, they spoke from knowing. They spoke from feeling it. They spoke from living it. Now, when people live it, they feel it. So, Tina masihleli a head office. Maybe sizoyifila because we are supposed to pass the regulations, the legislation, and all that. We are going to go as civil has been going around the country with the act. What do we call it? The Older Persons Act. She will come and listen to people and go back to head office. But who remains there is the provincial government. Who remains there is the local government. And I will say to you, civil, it would be good for us to check, when you were going around the country doing that, how many of the provincial people were there? How many of the local people were there? Did they sit throughout to listen to everything that people were saying, so that when you then finalize it, you have taken into consideration all the things that were said, but you are not taking it for ukuthi we are ticking the box. No, I mean, I'm supposed to tick the box, but as a department, and I don't tick the boxes. I want the job done. Simple and straightforward. We are one namhlanje. I was asking civil, how long have we been doing this activity? We started it in 2008, or 2007? 2008. Okay, I explain which is only 2 provinces that started, and then. And I'm saying to you officials, since that time to now, you do not want to tell me that all the experience you have had throughout the years that you have doing it, you can't perfect the system. You cannot. Why do I say that? It is not acceptable that we break for lunch and then we go, and some of us, we go and eat, but we are meeting at the same time we're eating. And then we hear the singing, then we come back, and then as we come back, we are told, "Kukhona bangadlanga." It's just not right. It is not, namanje? No. Yeah. So I'm saying to you, officials, it's not right that I did it. It's just not right. It's not right that I did it. And then I come here and I'm told, "Kukhona bangadlanga." I really cannot accept that. I really cannot pretend and behave that there's something not right with that. So isicelo sami ke lesi, and ngisanicela kahle okwamanje. Isicelo sami, can we not have this tomorrow? Can we not have this in the evening? Can we not have this ever? Can we not have this ever, because somebody is going to be paid for the service. And the somebody that has to be paid for the service cannot be telling us that he or she, because I don't know. By the way, sometimes kunokwenzeka ama mistake, yazi ukuthi banokusithuka, bathi siyawazi ama service provider. Asiwazi thina ama service provider, because we are told not to interfere into that space. But it becomes very difficult then when you come to a place and you are told the truck is still on the way. Kushaya u-1 isikhathi se-lunch, i-lunch ayikafiki. So officials, ukhona umuntu ongenzanga right. Loyo muntu ongenzanga right, we must know ukuthi ubani ongenzanga right. Because I cannot also generalize. Ngilahlele wonke umuntu ebhodweni eli-1. Ukhona lo muntu oyi-1 ongenzanga right, owenze ukuthi silinde sifike isikhathi se-lunch, i-lunch ingabi bikho. This is how it works. We agree we are going to have these games. We agree we're going to have this budget. We agree the budget will only cover this and that, and then we agree this budget is not enough, it cannot cover certain things. If the budget was not going to cover the lunch properly, then we should be able to stand here and say, "Bantu abadala, siyaxolisa kule process yethu yokuthi imali incane, imali ayikho, besifuna ukuthi nibe la, sizonika nje apula for lunch, sithembe ukuthi maniya emahotela senofike nidle idina elingathi lingcono." Ingcono ke into enjalo kimi. Than for me to come here and be like, "Hi, everything is fine, the lunch is gonna be there," and then siyabuya, u-DM wabantu loke busy manje, shwa on the side. Should we start? Should we not start? Guys, you started holding this program 2008. And you've got a lot of experience in it. And I've participated. The few times that I've been here, I've participated. Lange ngaya khona, the 3 times or the 2 times. Azange kuthiwe hayi lunch ayikafiki. Something went wrong and it must be corrected. Because you know what happens. Mabehamba abantu abadala, I can guarantee you. Akekho umuntu ozothi Isabella, uSivili, ubani, again bazovele bathi yo wasilanda ke uminister nama MEC bakhe basilambisa. And that's where the problem lies. When manje kuzothiwa no DM nkosami uleke busy ebuza ilunch ikhona or ayikho. Kube sengathi uye othe nangu umuntu okufuneka lethe ilunch. Isicelo nje sami kini guys ukuthi some of the things that make people upset are small little things. You have a big beautiful event like the one we have. I went to the ground and I found the excitement of older people participating there, very, very excited. You must not dampen that spirit, nor dampen the spirit of the people who are here by just making those little things. And yabona indlala is not a little thing for abantu abadala. Nami nje ngimdala nginganga ngoba nami phela ngimdala, I'm on that side. there's no way that I can be sitting in meetings endlessly and not putting something in my stomach to get my energy and all. So ngiyanicela, guys, please don't do this, because in my view, we are looking at the past 30 years, we are looking at the next 30 years. We cannot be repeating the same mistakes over and over. Abantu bawugcina bangasasithembi. Mina, as a member of the African National Congress, I can tell you, I slug it out. I work very hard. I spent many hours simply because I want to see the change that we promised we were going to make. I want to see abantu bakwazi ukuthi uhulumende mayethe uzowenza lokhu akwenze. And makune mistake ibonakala ukuthi hayi cha le mistake ngathi singathi kuyi yabona tolerate kancane, but masinga tolerate ama mistake amaningi too much. So ngicela ukubonga bonke abakhulumile namhlanje. I want to thank everybody that spoke today, but speak specifically to the fact that many of them made recommendations. And my view, MECs, is that those recommendations must not be taken lightly. For instance, MEC Fanta, ukhulume ngokuthi she's finding it difficult to understand why year after year, when we have to come here and talk here, we are still repeating one and the same things when government has put specific structures to be able to deal with these issues. We should be asking, government has said there's the district development model. In the district development model, what are the structures within there that have to deal with the issues of older persons? This government has got the National Development Plan. What does it say? Because it does say something. What does it say about older persons? How does it say government must deal with older persons? But at the same time, it also calls for yourselves as the older persons to contribute towards what government can do, because it's not a one-way street, it is a two-way street. Some spoke about the integrated framework, the holistic approach, and what I think is also very important is to cater to the changing circumstances of older persons. Uyabona isikhathi sakagogo wami owangikhulisa kanzima asisafani nesikhathi sanamhlanje. Obviously that means government mawenza ushintsho lapha nalapha kuma policy has to take into consideration the changes that are happening. Also ngizwa kuthiwa older persons feel they are left behind. It shouldn't be that sesizokhuluma ngokuba left behind only here at this high level. The being left behind must be dealt with. Caesar and Isabella, I've said, a problem was in South Africa, including gender-based violence, including violence in general, because we're bantu bagit, we're bantu. Gender-based violence is horrible, comes with everything, but there's also something that is very general about us, violence. Isekhona nje le nto ukuthi to solve a problem masiphumele ngaphandle sinikane intonga sinikane izagila. That's another problem that we need to solve, and I've said to the department, if we want to deal with the challenges of our communities and our societies with our communities, we must deal with these things house to house, street to street, community to community. It's not catching fire, that slogan, lapha kwa department. And angazi ukuthi why is it not catching fire? Because bonke abantu abahleli la bavela khona istrada bavela kuso. Bonke abantu abahleli la kukhona indawo le abahlala kuyo, even in rural areas bayazana ukuthi mawusuka la kwaMkhize uya lapha kwaZulu uya lapha kwaMthethwa abantu bayazana ukuthi bangakho abantu abalapha kwamthetho. We know each other. So, solving the problems of South Africa, in my view, ukuthi we must try and deal with it street by street, community by community, so that as communities we must be united and know what we are about. Le government, le eyakhethwa yini, yi government which has tried by all means to make meaningful and visible strides in ensuring an inclusive, futuristic policy framework for older persons, in particular, positive developments that are challenging our respective institutions through older persons targeted people, public, private, civic, academic, multilateral partnership. Asizukwazi ukwenza lo msebenzi lo if singeke si-connecte wonke lama dots. Kusukela emasontweni, kuya kuma traditional leaders, kuya kuwo wonke emphakathini nje, asizukwazi ukwenza lo msebenzi if we not connect to each other. But most importantly, lama partnerships esikhuluma ngawo, what are they meant for? They are meant to protect and promote the dignity of older persons. And department, the dignity of older persons starts with us respecting them even where we are at this level. And I want to say to you, Department, mina, nguLindiwe Zulu, and I am sure what I'm saying, the MECs feel exactly the same. We cannot afford to be flippant about the way we do things for older people. We cannot afford it. And I don't make the mistake of thinking we are saying we can't afford it because we are going to elections because we want their vote. No. We want to do this because we fought for this country to be a democratic, non-racial, non-sexist South Africa. That's the main reason why we have to have these things happening. That's the main reason why we wake up in the morning and we get paid, and we are privileged, by the way. Because some people, mina nje ngila nguLindiwe, khona abantu engangisehlathini nabo, azange bayibonele impilo engingayo mina. Abayazi. And sisaya khona ukuthi kufuneka senze something sibalungisele nabo so that they feel their contribution was worth the while. Why do we also do this is because on an ongoing basis, secure the value add and contributions of older persons towards the totality, stability, and prosperity of our society's fabric. What is our society's fabric? What are our society's values? Our society's values is what makes me stand here as a minister and be able to say, this day, this year, last year, was very difficult for us because Abo Civil could not get the money anywhere, because the money had been cut, because the money that sits in government is money that has to cater for everybody. But we then said, irrespective, older people are not going to forgive us if we just say, ayikho le mali. Sathi hambani niyoyifuna. Ifuneni nize nithole, sacela ke ukuthi, probably the only thing that might happen ukuthi, asizuwenza the full scale, the full bouquet, esijwayele ukuyenza. Mina nje inhliziyo yami ibhlungu ngoba the 3 times that I've done it, I've always come across abantu nama track suits, nama t-shirts. This timing ngithe ngifike egate ngathi ngicela i-t-shirt but asinawo. So ngabona awe forum, ngathi ku forum hayi ngicela nami ningiphe kona ningiboleke nje ke okungenani for now. Because it's important. Why do we also do this? Is because we need to improve the accessibility of the basic services that older persons use and benefit from. And I don't want to go into them. MEC Fanta spoke to the fact that each and every department, each and every premier's office, each and every structure has to answer what are they doing to contribute towards the well-being of the elderly. Into ebhalwe black and white. Indaba yayo yini ukwenziwa. But again, honestly speaking, officials, MEC and everybody, isiyakhathaza, isiyacasula nje, ugogo would say. Isiyacasula nje into ukuthi sobelokhu si repeated the same thing. South Africa's problem is implementation. South Africa's, how long are we going to be saying the one and the same thing year after year? 30 years, obviously, mncane to reverse ezinye izinto, but once you've put a system in place, stick to that system. Once you have put money into something, do that what the money is there for. Because it's not right to pinda one and the same thing. Also, lento siyenza to promote the consolidation and integration of reliable and quality services that are used by older persons. And CEO Wesasa will tell you that I say to the CEO, abantu abadala bahamba baphethe amakhadi wabo weSASSA, bahamba bayothenga lokho okuncane abangakuthenga. Yini into esingayenza ukuthi ke sikhulumisane nezitolo, izitolo nje bebekithi ngoba phela ngithi thina imali siyayifaka, nina nithatha amakhadi nihambe niyothenga, kusho ukuthi le mali efakwe uhulumende niyayithatha nihambe niyothenga, kukhona nizokuthola lokho enikufunayo, kodwa kukhona abantu abazoba rich out of it, bazowenza profit out of it. Sengithi ke kuye ake sibheke ke sice, and she's done it, to be honest with you. She's been running around to the shops, mbabizani, ama retailers. She has sat there in those meetings and demanded ukuthi if imali esispenda per month is this amount, kusho ukuthi la kini emabhangeni kungena imali engaka, la kini ezitolo kungena imali engaka. Siyanicela nje ukuthi ke bese nenza ama discount ezintweni ezithize, so that nani kubonakale ukuthi ninenhloso yokusincedisa suhulumente to make the life of the elderly people or to make the life of our beneficiaries better. Bakhona ke esengibabonile kulama shop kuthi khona amalanga labathi khona namhlanje abantu abadala bazothola ama discount ezintweni ezithize. Siyakubonga lokho kodwa akho enough. Ngoba mina ngicabanga ukuthi sometimes mabethi abantu abadala or abantu ama grant beneficiaries bazobanikeza ama discount, uthi uyabheka kulento abanikeza I discount kuyo ubona ukuthi hayi cha, some of these things ingathi ba decide ukuthi le ingathi ayihambi kakhulu asilahlele ku discount. Siyabacela nje thina ukuthi abasebenze nathi ngoba nabo noma benza imali out of you, they have an interest in the growth of this country. Futhi ke mabangenayo leyo interest of the growth of the party of the country, bafunani ke la? We should ask ourselves that question. Because democracy cannot be a responsibility of government alone. Democracy cannot be a responsibility of NPOs and NGOs bodwa. Osomabhizinisi abakhulu, ongciwankulu abakhulu abangaka, abasuthayo, they don't think it's important for them to contribute so that there can be safety, there can be peace, there can be employment, there can be economic growth. Asizukwazi ukuyikhulisa le economy sizihambela sodwa because sifike la si empty-handed from an economic point of view. MEC angaze mina ngitshene ukuthi hayi cha pre-democracy bekhona ama billionaire abekhona. Black, African, wangekho. So we need to be able to ask them, can we meet each other halfway? Angifuni ke ukusho history ke ngoba siyazi ukuthi ukhona othela uyazi ukuthi approximately sina 5 million or 9.2 South Africans are older persons who are aged 60 years and older. As somebody said from one of the provinces, manje kusho ukuthini lokho? Kusho ukuthi kune steady increase and a growing presence a multiplicity of challenges and opportunities that can be addressed and exploited via the establishment and operationalization of older persons targeted people, private, civic, academic, multilateral partnership. Ukhona futhi omunye okhale ngokuthi yazi nje siyezwa uhulumende all the time nikhuluma about the youth. Ingathi thina niyasikhohlwa ukuthi nathi sikhona. Waze wathi una over 60 or something like that. Wathi nje niyangibona nje mina ngina 60, I still have 65 or somewhere. Wathi usakwazi ukusebenza, usakwazi ukwenza into eziningi. It is true. One of the things engikhalisayo engifuna kuyisho nikhona nama officials, I think we are being dragged into conversations that are almost saying abantu abadala, they are no longer important. And that is a problem, because I have never been to any community. Mina, lok ngaba khona nje, I tell you, in the African continent, I've been to 45 countries. I don't know about Europe and other countries. I found them to always wanting to do something and take care of their elderly. They use the experience, they use konke lokho abantu abadala bakhona abanako, they use it for importance of growing our economies. Phakathi kwenu kunothisha, kunonesi, kunobani abaseba retireile. But retirement doesn't mean you are retarded. No. Retirement doesn't mean you are retarded, because nami nje, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm one of those soldiers of MK who was privileged enough to come back and still be in politics at home, at my age, at 65, I should have retired. I should have retired. Now I'm trying to imagine, I'm like, I don't think I'm feeling any retirement right now. But it cannot be about me. It must also be about yourselves. Because nihleli nje, when you go back to your homes, I think many of you will be asking yourself, what does the local government ever bother to ask me, what can I do? Does the province bother to ask, what can you do? Does anyone bother to ask you, what can you contribute even towards your community? So, just in conclusion, ngifuna ukusho ukuthi the National Active Aging Program is a standing reminder to all of us that older persons wish for our partnership collective to work for their benefit. From this, society experiences of positive growth and benefits elsewhere will find reinforcement. And so, as you see, kule program yaga bekufuna kube 2023, but again say 2024. I'm hoping civil, when the dates, the normal dates come for the 2024 National Active Aging Program, we will be mindful of the fact that can we strengthen the activities at local and provincial level? Can this be a culmination of what happened in the provinces, so that when you come here, ngishona lama competition, it might be nice, kuthiwe, yabona laba bafikela, bebe competile provincini, bapasile, baphethe whatever they are showing. They are here now to do the national one, but without discriminating abanye, ngoba phela sometimes you will do the competition and then others will be left out. One of the issues I want to raise also with you officials is that we have people with disability. And I really personally don't feel very comfortable. I'm walking around, I'm just seeing only able-bodied, and I'm thinking, but even people with disability, isn't it? They have their special sports. Why is it that bona they are not being brought into the fold with their category of their special sports? They are there, and some of them don't sleep because they are trying to show the world, remember us, we are here, please. No, They shouldn't be demanding of us, remember us. We should know because the Constitution covers them. And our department, together with the Department of Women, Youth and People with Disabilities, we have that responsibility. Sesi launcha le 2024 National Active Aging Program. Can we not have only DSD being here? Please. Can we also ensure that the other departments who contribute to what we are talking about, they were talking about housing, human settlement. You don't necessarily need to be bringing all ministers for a cabinet here. I'm not advocating for that. But there are officials who work in those departments. Please talk to them, civil. This year, whether Yimi or Raksi Yimi is neither here nor there. You cannot be holding these very important games on our own. They must also, Bapi. Civil. Okay, tell me how many departments are here. No, I'm not talking about province, civil. I'm not talking about province. No, ngikhuluma angithi thina se-national, ama-counterpart wethu yi-national. Ngikhuluma nge-national mina. Ngithi, when you are planning for the 2024 National Active Aging Program, you will not have me and the MECs and whatever talk. You will have, at national level, people who come from human settlement, who will come and say to the elderly people, lento eniyibuzayo ngendaba yezindlu, ake nisitshele sifuna ukuntshela ukuthi sinakhela izindlu. Yes. Makusho bona, ngoba makusho mina, they will say wazi kanjani wena ngoba wena ucounta ama figures apresentwa lapha ku cabinet. When they talk about gender-based violence and the cases, bathe futhi ama case of the older persons, our regard were exactly the same as the others. Where is the police here? Department? Not province. Ngifuna national. So, okay, if bangekho civil, now Isabella, I'm saying to you, because you are officials, you know what is good about you? We come and go. And we don't, asipalazi thina makufuneka sihambe. Nina, you are always here. So when I'm saying this to you, I'm saying it for purposes of the institution, not for myself. You are born today or any other day. Next time, kuzofuneka ukuthi kube yibo abakhuluma nabantu abadala bathi bantu abadala thina sivela ku human settlement. Sifuna ukuntshena ukuthi si human settlement sintargeta kanjani. Beze la from subs, ifike isubs ithi bantu abadala nisibona nje thina siyi-subs naku esinenzela kona. Nani ke bese niphakamisa izandla nithi hawu subs usho kanjani ukuthi wenza lokhu nalokhu. And again I'm saying, I'm not asking for ministers to come here. It will be unrealistic of me. But they are officials. Hey, you know I'm officials. You have the DG, une office like Kelingaka. Ube no chief director, ube no DDG, under DDG, unabo chief director, probably about 3 or 4. Under chief director, kube nabo director, maybe about 6. Under director, kube no deputy director, maybe na unabantu bakhe. Uziyofika egcineni. So lento engicelayo, angiceli ngoba I'm trying to be whatever. I don't need to do that. Been there, done that. Ngicela ngoba I'm saying, if we are to deal with the challenges and the issues of older persons, we must go to what the chairperson said earlier on, a holistic approach to it. Now, A holistic approach cannot be DSD, SASA, and NDA kube kuphelile njalo. A holistic approach is about having all the, because kumnandi nani nje nazi ukuthi this year, manibuya this year, asithi kuze ugovernment wonke, but masithi makuze laba aba critical for the older persons. That's all we are asking for. And kufuneka yabona ke mayenziwa national. Let me tell you, it then becomes even easy for the provinces to do it. Yes, it becomes very easy for the provinces to do it. So between today and the 2025 National Active Aging Program, it is my hope, it is my wish that we will reach greater heights together with South Africa's older persons. And South Africa's older persons, yabona bengenza izolo besibhekene nama statistics. Basinikeza ngisho nama statistics of women. You know, women are more than men. And yet the women are not in positions of power as more as the men are. Women are the ones that do door to door. Yazo door to door ngikhuluma ngayo. Thina kwa ANC door to door samqala kudala simqala ngizolo. But ke mangikhuluma ngo door to door la, there are different political parties. Mangenza u-analysis, and I think uComrade Fanta will say, masenza u-analysis where ANC ngoba ngi-ANC. Ama statistics asitshena ukuthi hobani abenza u-door to door. It's more the women. Ama volunteer where ANC, when you look at the numbers of the volunteers is more the women. So there must be that visible giving back by ourselves. Those of us who have got the privilege of being ministers, MECs, chief directors, DDGs, and we are privileged. I know sometimes mangithi kubo, hey, we are privileged to be here. They say, sifundile sesikolweni, and we went for interviews and all that. I'm like, yes, it is true. It is true because you went for the interviews and washaya banya kuma interviews. Nathi no MEC Fanta, no deputy minister here. Nathi angithi kune list yabantu about 200. I-ANC inabantu aba more than 1 million. Kusho ukuthi mawuvele wena uyi-1, bathi kuwe hamba uyoba u-MEC. You must never take it for granted. Makuvele wena uyi-1 out of a number of 1 million and something of the African National Congress, and they say to you, Lindiwe Zulu, you shall be the minister. And then you take it for granted. And then you just walk up and down like as if you don't know ukuthi umsebenzi wakho is to respond to the needs of the people. Then you can't be in the position. That is why the ANC yethu it decided ukuthi yazi olindiwe Zulu laba mabekhethwe lapha ezansi no MEC Fanta mabekhethwe la thina si ANC leader sesobafaka kuma interviews manje. That's what the ANC is doing now. Nami nje ngibuya kuyi interview. Yabona ke cabanga nje mawuya kuyi interview ibanjwe former President Kgalema Motlanthe. Don't ever think you are going to go there avela kuthi nje vava kancane uzokubuza right to the bottom. And if you don't answer, usitshele kahle wathi if you fail, lento ukuthi uselistini unjani njani, if you are not going to be able to respond here and tell us what is it to be a parliamentarian? Why are you a parliamentarian? What is the mandate of a parliamentarian? What is contained in the constitution of of South Africa? Since you've been in parliament so many years, what can you teach and tell younger generation? Seyifike kuleso sigaba ke ANC ukuthi ithi okay niyakhethwa nonke kodwa ke kukhona okufuneka bazi ukuthi mama ngaba bawazi umsebenzi wabo bazungena anymore. And I'm not saying this only for the ANC. I'm sure namanya amapati asehlakaniphile manje. Ngoba wonke umuntu ufuna ukuthi mayengenile akwazi ukuphatha, aphathe nabantu abaright, ahambe nabantu abaright, abazo responda to the needs of the people. So, ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi ninginike lesikhathi eside kangaka ukuthi ngikhulume. I know I wasn't supposed to take this long, but it's 30 years of democracy. It's 30 years in Shilo Kaleni ngathi, it's 30 years of the good, the bad, the ugly, and the good. Kule 30 years, we are looking towards the next 30 years. Maybe makulandelwa ke sekuza lelanga leli, lango 2025. It might be that it will be a different person who speaks to you. But the one thing you must not lose sight of, if the person who stands in front of you still remains a member of the African National Congress, they can never come here and be speaking other politics other than the politics I spoke here. Because that's what the African National Congress is about. What I was talking about here is what was taught to me from the age of 19 to today. That when you are given a position, it is a position for the service for the people and not yourself. Abanye ke abenza uself, ngicela nazi ukuthi abakhulumeli leyo organization, bakhulumele ezinye izinto. Ngoba mina le engikhule kuyo yangifundisa from the age of 19 ukuthi here it's not about self. Here it is about serving the people of South Africa. And from the time I was 19 to the time 1994, we served it diligently. And Usis Fanta, Comrade Fanta Mayesho uthi sifike sondile singaka. Ngasibonisa ngathi sinonile these days. Sondile, and we only had one thing in our minds: to serve the people of South Africa. Help us serve the people of South Africa. Thank you.
No sound.
Photo session, photo session, minister, the forum, maybe here.
Maybe after vote of thanks.
After vote of thanks here.
Okay. I ushilu minister ki ubone uri ki utlwile uri a re ka nna fa fatshe ba go singahlala phansi ngiyabonga. Hayi ukhulumile uminister yabona makakhulumile ayitolokwa yabo. Futhi ningibonisile ukuthi nemzwile. Lempontitse uri limutlwile ne? Yeah. Yaka ha ke tlo bitsa o tlang a re tswalelo zosivalela senzele u vote of thanks. Ngicela kuchaza ukuthi kusasa kwenzakalani. 9:30 bese siyaqala ngeprogram yethu eformal. Senza lokho kwenzwa every year ngithi. Kuyongena ama teams wama province ngeparade. Mastata ku parade a re fetsa o kena re parade a ke re ra tseba re kena ka dipina tsa rona ka whatever e re etsang a ke re. So we're gonna do that. After that, we are going to then have the national anthem. Then we have Minister Premier Resepa Rwatla siyathemba uyeza umamtshweni. Bese ke sithatha uminister asenzele izinto ezu4 asideclarele ma Golden Games Open bese ke undluliso wakhe umlayezo hayi bese senza bese ke then the officials di re balle at codes at athletes oath ka sports arts and culture ba tlhalose hore sizoenza ini, ma games, sikule, re opele, re dire whatever. E re tlabang re etsa ntse re shebile di games. Ha re fetsa moo, minister o tlabe a tla jwanong le bo MEC ba leng teng, a fana ka di-medal-e le di-trophy, and then re be re leboha, e be re tswa so. Akere? Bese siphuma kanje, masiqedile kwenza konke lokho sesitholile ama-trophy wethu, sesithole ama-medal wethu, bese ke hayi kufika obongayo. Angikho yena umphathi wehlelo kusasa. Bakhona abaphathi behlelo la kusasa. Kuyoba futhi ne-brass band, kuphinde kube ne-flame, sijikele stadium ngendlela esijwayele ngayo. Njengoba mina ngimela, hayi ngiyabonga Nkosi yami, u10 years omuhle esemsebenzile la ka DSD. Sibe nani abaningi, abanye sebo 70, baqale bano 60 kanjalo kanjalo. So manje re tlo kopa ntate Motlame, o ele ke sho ke ntate akere, o ke mme, jo ka tle ka kubiwa ko lapeng wa bana e ba mpakisa di bony bag. Ke tlo kopa mme Motlame a ra tumele a kgone gore leboga, ska ba lebala go leboga nna ne. So atle vote of thanks. Me Motlame, okay maitso tla re ha o fetsa go dira vote of thanks, then we can have forum chairs asking for a picture with the minister and the MEC. E tla re ha fetsa me Motlame ke tla tla gape ka tlhalosa gore go tlo go diragalang, and 5 minutes nyana re be re tswa re a go ikhutsa mma.
Shoo. Yo, what a day. Good evening, or is it still afternoon? Good afternoon, everybody. And I always thought passing a vote of thanks is an easy thing. I just say thank you and you're done. But after listening to giants like Bo, the two Lindiwes, and the other people who have been on this podium, I feel so challenged. I just want to thank you all and say this is the day that the Lord has made. We've rejoiced, we've been happy in it, and so shall our happiness be eternal. As Mayor has just indicated, I'm Mpumalanga, and I'm here just to say thank you to all of you. I wasn't going to bring my diary, but I was challenged, Minister, when you mentioned something I have to thank, I've already thanked everybody, man. This protocol thing, normally, I normally forget about it. When you mentioned something about the Chief Director, Ms. Civil, that she must next time involve everyone. I have here things that I recorded when we were having a strategic meeting in February, where all stakeholders were here. We had provincial DSD premier and premier's offices, human rights, older persons, human rights, National Department of Social Development, HIV and AIDS, gender, finance, children's rights, social, Department of Justice and Constitutional Courts, DSD TV. That's when we knew about the DSD TV, that it's here. SAPS, Health, NPA, Sports and Recreation, Department of Tourism, Stats SA, just to mention but a few. The list is quite long. I said I must just bring it to say no. In DSD, we do our homework. She did it with her team. We all did it as the South African older persons. Now, let me just come to my vote of thanks. Me, Lindiwe, Zulu, I'll start with you because you have quite a number of things that you've done that have touched me. I must just say a special thank you to you for really being so sensitive to the needs of the people you serve. It's not nice to see people eating ka Sotho re re molomo o jang, o rohaka o sa jeng. You know, people will always be looking at you while you are eating or coming out of a certain room, busy wiping your mouth with a serviette and say, and here we are, dry-mouthed. She has just had a very, very good meal. But with you, it's different. I saw that when you were in Velkom, Lijoli Putswa, the other day. It was a day after the 8th birthday of the ANC. We were gathered there, if you can remember. The same thing happened there, when our food wasn't enough for everyone. You went out of your way, personally went and bought food. You remember? You remember? So that said a lot about you to me. Not as a politician, not as what, but as a human being. That once you have the good intentions and you think about the people you serve, then really it shows, clearly indicates that you are a bigger person. So may keep it up that way, not only for cameras or anything. I've seen you on quite a number of occasions. That was not the first time I saw you and interacted with you. It wasn't, only to find it's not the last. And here we are again, meeting you. Colleagues, my brothers, sisters, aunts, and so on, I would just like to say a special, special thank you to the chief guests of this event. This is not a small thing that has been done. It's a very, very big event, and you made a success out of it. Organizers, caterers, everybody who had a hand, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, a million times. And there's no better way to thank us than giving the biggest thanks to the Almighty who made it possible for us to be here, for protecting us while we were traveling. We took long distances from our respective homes to be here. He protected us. He brought us this way. Not to leave us. He'll always be with us. And our children at home, our families, we've left our families. Now we just said, hey, we have something important to attend to. They released us. We always say that to them. For information, today is my daughter Matoto's birthday. I had to miss it because I had to be here. And I know there are other children and spouses who are really missing their partners back at home. We just want to say thank you to them for understanding that we are not just doing this for fun. We are busy trying to build, paving the way for those who will be coming after us. As the elderly mayor, I know you are trying your best, Minister, for improving matters. We've already tabled everything that we wanted. You've heard us. You've never been emotional, you know. There are leaders who will just trample on you and tell you that, no, you are not appreciative of this. I did this. I pay you. I do that. But you were humble. You listened to us and humbled yourself, promised that, honestly, these will be done. That gives you I'm ticking the boxes. With all those said, way back in the hotels, the people who have been helping us, media, everything, my chairperson, Mr. Sihularo, the minister's deputy, so chubby and so You know, you kept us happy all the time. I just want to say thank you to you, Deputy Minister, for the way you handled everything. Oh, I'll be making a very, very big mistake if I cannot mention. Hey, Gauteng, where are you? Gauteng, the choirs, Gauteng, KZN, Northwest, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, wow, Northern Cape, yo. I'm not jealous, you see, because I know my province didn't, but I'm not trying to cover for them, but I know wherever they are, look at how she's laughing. They are busy with something, they were busy with something. We experienced some teething problems, so please bear with us. You know, my dad, wherever he is, may his soul rest in peace, used to say, Mekant, what's about Veldmark? If you see someone doing something to you funny, Veldmark, just look at her and act differently. Oh, I just want to say, you know, there are those people who will offend you, do things, and think you don't see anything. You overlook it. The wisdom that God has given us as the elderly. You pretend not to have seen anything, you turn a blind eye. And I know there are those who we have heard. Please turn a blind eye and accept our apologies wherever we have erred. We just love you as the South African elderly people. We know that every human being has the wish to be appreciated. And you are highly, highly, highly appreciated and loved. But God loves you more. Thank you very much.
Okay. Sengichazile iprogram ngizocela ke ukuthi njengoba sivule ngomthandazo rikwale kathapelo muithaupi khanti wena sivile ke fana ka program wena no le kae he banna khale ke feditse ngwana ka program ya ka moso muithaupi volunteers le gale ba golo re tla leboga modimo a kere oh etla woza mama ngiyayithanda le enzakalayo
Riamule
Hakithi baba tserindi
Modimo raitsho re tla fo pele ga gago ka dipelo tse di itumetseng. You became a faithful father. We submitted to you this morning requesting you to be with us. God, you have never failed us. We want to give you all the glory and all the honor. Thank you for the peace that we enjoyed here, peace that surpassed all understanding, the programs and the presence of the Holy Spirit as it was guiding each and every presentation that was taking place here. As we are departing to our places of abode, we are inviting you in a very special way that, Lord
go with us and protect us, be with our drivers, and let us sleep and come back tomorrow. And may at the end say glory and honor be given to your name for your faithfulness in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Yazi mara itsikathala phansi yazi mara abasebenzi bakahulumeni bayahlupha. Ngicela sihlaleni siqede kuthiwe ngi-announce kunama gymnastics ngo-7 tomorrow. Oh, aerobics. Yo mdaka mama ngikho lazy nje. Ama-aerobics kusasa ngo-7. Minister, kodwa abasebenzi bakahulumeni bayahlupha. It's true. Now they've taken all the older persons. Ama-coordinator vele athi phumani. Ibuhlungu le nto. Good night. God bless. Sengi-confused. Abraham uyithe aerobics ke ka-7, omongwe wa tla re aerobics ke ka-9, nna ke sa tseba aerobics ke nako mang. Ba re 9, forum, the chairperson is asking for the pictures. But I don't see all your forum members, chairperson. Maybe they are gone.
No, it's fine. Then I'll take with the minutes with yourself.
Okay.